I'm going to keep talking politics. I don't give a fuck what anyone says, because politics and business and politics go together. And chiropractic business is my business. And, God, it's so interesting to see, I talked to my wife and I was like, I don't know. What do you think? Should I keep going on about this? It's in my soul. It's in my burning, and it's in my desire. And she comes from that school of, well, we don't talk about this stuff. And, I think back to like Seed to Table in Florida. And I think we're in a new era where, to remain in the middle, I'll come back to that, to remain in the middle and not push one way or the other, what you feel is right, naturally right, the chiropractic way, right? Naturally right. You got to speak up. And it's so funny to watch what's happening with the far left versus the far right, how comparable they are now. And, I grew up in a family that, if you heard this story before, forgive me, but my grandparents met in chiropractic college in New York City. And they were in one of the classes that the professors were being taken away in handcuffs. And my grandmother turned around to my grandfather and said, "Hey, Bill, this looks interesting. We should stick around." That gives you any insight to who the Schaub DNA is. It should. And so I've been pretty vocal lately about my disappointment in this administration. There's a lot of rabbit holes we can go down, but I'm going to tie it or bring it right to the front of why this matters to me. With over 50 plus clients, personal clients, one-on-one clients with my Twisty CA program, consulting, CMO, and now another almost 100 chiropractic results peeps. Hate the word customers, but they're on my machine for chiropractic results, which we're absolutely crushing it with. I get a lot of data now with being at the forefront of the chiropractic conversation online. And I can look at reports and signals that tell me what the public's asking about. And the first 3 to 4.5 months of data was, signal data for location-based chiropractors online from Google search, landing at chiropractic results, or being a signal for chiropractic results to be talking about. Well, it's not the number one signal anymore. You want to know what the hottest overall signal is? The biggest cluster is cost and price for market. It's the hottest overall cluster. It's my biggest national play. Why it matters, it's the biggest volume. It's high commercial intent. People are close, but they're stuck on money. And this is a bridge for me for what's value, best value, what's included. The biggest phrases from what people are still searching, the hottest market in chiropractic is chiropractor cost. How much is a chiropractor? Cost of a chiropractor. Average cost chiropractor visit US 2026. Average cost of chiropractic care. How much does a chiropractor cost? Chiropractic costs without insurance. Chiropractor costs with insurance. Chiropractic pricing list. This is the loudest signal. And it says the market is obsessed right now with price transparency. Why would that be? Now, my far right brothers who I love, look, no one, and this is why I'm so disappointed, no one was more of a let's fucking go Trump 2024. And there's the far right going, we got to go in and fight this war. And even if it costs us more money in oil and it costs us lives, we got to fight for them. And I bring it back to the far right who's saying at home, let's take care of poor people, black people, brown people. Now, look, I'm a libertarian. I'm in the middle. Call me an isolationist. I don't think that's the truth. I think most normal, common sense human beings are libertarians. Stay out of my bedroom. I don't want to pay fucking taxes. I want to help those when those are in need in my community, my relationships. I want to fucking just barbecue, chill, and have fun until we figure out what's next in this universe. And it's so fun because the far right, is so far-sighted on taking care of at home and poor people and creating these systems like San Francisco, which has just been, they're doing a documentary now in San Francisco. I can tell you the documentary for the last when I lived there, what a shithole and what Newsom and Kamala Harris did to that. That's why I was so anti Kamala Harris. And I'm so anti Gavin Newsom because I saw the destruction of what they did to one of the most beautiful cities in the world. And I believe in that more conservative nature of what's better for business is better for consumers, is better for the general public. But it's so funny on the far right now. It's, people should die and we got to take care of there's genocide going on. But I think if you said, hey, well, what if the answer wasn't go bomb them? What if we just went in, got out all the cool people, brought all the cool people back to America and we supported them? I think that would shift your narrative, right? But I understand. And maybe I saw this thing the other day. Maybe Trump's playing 4D chess like everyone's saying, and it's going to end everything. But I don't have an answer from anyone like when this will end. And I thought it ended last summer that nukes were destroyed for Iran. And, the far right now is saying, well, oil. So what if oil goes up and all this? Well, it's not. It's bigger than that. They shut down the strait, whatever the fuck it's called. And it actually benefits us in America. It benefits Russia if you do your due diligence for a short term. But it leads to a global economy thing, which will affect us and which has affected us since COVID. Look, here's who I care about. I don't even give a shit about chiropractic as much as I care about the chiropractic. I care about my chiropractors. Those that are thriving, those that are struggling, and everyone in between. My job on this earth is to help them grow. I'm all about fucking growth. Forgive me if I'm like, hey, I see this as a bad thing for the growth of chiropractors and chiropractic, and I don't really understand. Well, I do understand. I just don't see why. No, I knew why we're doing this. But anyways, interesting to know what the consumer market cares about right now when it comes to chiropractic business. And if you think that this doesn't have an impact or effect, you're dead wrong. That's why we had Dan Bay on the other day to talk about where people are going to be when things get weird, and why knowing sales systems and understanding how to communicate and knowing how to sell is so vital and important. That's why it's an arms race in the AI wars to get ranking better. That's why I've been so dead on chiropractic results and so hyper focused on that. But it was Mercury in retrograde, and finally it's over. And so two things that my wife's sick of me talking about, probably politics and Mercury in retrograde. But I do have to tell you, because I'm all about data, right? And the data now look, here's the cool thing. Chaos can also be good for chiropractic. Okay. So I went down a rabbit hole of research. And I'm like, hey man, this one was fuckity. And a lot of people I know out there, car accidents, weird stuff, weird technological flares. And so I just went down the rabbit hole of data. And one of my best data sources just was talking about was Google. Look, Google Trends can be one of your best friends when it comes to data for putting together your marketing calendar. And I looked at one of the last Mercury in retrogrades from the summer that was really rough, or that I believed to be rough. And I started doing search terms during that period on things that would be relatable to it's getting funky out there. So I started doing search term on like apology text, locksmith, car accidents, towing, lawyers, stress, depression, suicide, so on and so forth. Geek Squad, right? Because of technical things. And it wasn't just there was a bump. Dude, there were shots in the arms like fucking, like Johnny Rotten taking fucking, or was it Sid and Nancy? Like Sid and Nancy taking heroin shots. Biggest jumps. Almost 50% jump during Mercury in retrograde for lawyer searches. Car accidents up 30%. Geek Squad up 20%. Apology text, towing, locksmith, all up shots. Not just anomalies, not just a little bump, but massive during Mercury in retrograde. And of course me, because of what business I'm in, where does this lead to for chiropractors? Because there's more car accidents, right? Well, here's an interesting thing during Mercury in retrograde. Best chiropractor up 35%, up 22%. Business is good when chaos is good for chiropractic. Best chiropractor also had meaningful jumps. Yeah, that's where we're at. I'm a data guy, and that's why I'm going to talk about politics. And in fact, I'm a data guy fueled by spite. So when one motherfucker wants to bring up my drug use or abuse, what do you want to call it? I don't know. First of all, no drug has ever been abused in my life. It's been loved better than most parents love their children. We've had a good old time. But if you don't know, now you know. I'm completely 100% because of chiropractic results, because of the mission that I'm on. Everything has been turned off. I am a one-track mind now. Knowing that, I've dived into my spite system, which is fueled or fuels my ADD brain or whatever the fuck. And, as soon as someone commented on something, I'm like, you dare me? I should not be a politician. I should not be talking politics because of my drug use. I don't know if you know a guy named RFK Jr., but we shared a lot of the same loves and pleasures of life, pussy and fucking dope. And if you never did dope, let me tell you this. There's a reason why people tell you to stay away from heroin. It's fucking amazing. The downside is hell on earth. But if you never had sex on heroin, there's a reason that cortex or whatever's going on in the brain happens and fires off signals that goes, oh my God. So forgive me because I want to explore this world and I'm a pleasure seeker. I'm a risk taker. On that note, though, I'm fueled by spite. So when someone says something, wow, let's fucking go. And so now I'm running for office in my local community. Now, my grandmother was one of the first female chiropractors, or one of the first females in upstate New York to run for mayor. She was a chiropractor, female chiropractor in Cortland, New York. She ran for mayor. She did not win. But politics has been part of my life since I was a kid. And politics and business go together. Chiropractic and business go together. I ain't going to stop talking about it. If it makes you not want to do business with me, then you're just not a smart business person. We don't have to agree on everything. But I think that's what America was kind of born on. In fact, one of my favorite clients in California, Beverly Hills, Dr. Juhei. Say, hey, Juhei. Brilliant. We're having such a great time working together. Got a lot of projects. Juhei says to me as we're starting to work together, I love you. I love your mind. I hate your politics. And we've been joking lately. I said, well, maybe I'm coming over the other side. I ain't been switching sides. I just go with what the truth and what the data tells me and what my convictions are. And I think my convictions, like most people in that are human, that are normal, are pretty libertarian. But Juhei was smart enough to work with me. And if someone out there says, I don't like your politics, is the reason why I'm not going to let one of the smartest, brightest, as many people say out there, and you can go to spiz.com and read what other people say about me. You ain't going to work with that because I irritate you with something. You should check in with that. The other side of that, I know who I want to work with and who I want to help grow. So on that note, you guys are probably coming into some pretty busy weeks, hopefully. That's my hope. There's times of creation and curation. We're in both eras right now, or both sides of the fence of creation, curation. Right now, the three-headed monster you guys should be focused on is number one, internal referrals, patients, healthcare providers, community organizations. Number two, you should be making that giant shift to AI, but you want to keep buying all the fucking courses out there that you'll never click on? Keep doing that. I get it. I got a lot of people going, I just don't get what chiropractic results is and how it works. Well, there's a lot of patients out there that don't fucking understand a subluxation still, but they love the work that you do and the results that you get. Let us put the work to work for you. And what's that third head in mind? Oh, corporate wellness. How could I forget corporate wellness? Man, billions and billions dollar industry, wild, wild west right now. Companies trying to get their EAP programs together. Chiropractic has always been the right solution for corporate wellness. It's our time. Don't let it get fucked up. On that note, thanks for letting me ramble. You want to get involved with what we're doing over at the Spiz? I am opening up Twisty CA, also fueled by spite right now. Hey, I watch and listen to what other people out there say and do. Their actions speak louder than words sometimes. So I'm going to put it out there again. We're growing Twisty CA. If you want to learn from, almost grandmas that have been doing CA stuff, the world has changed and so should your CA. Your CA should be armed to be doing the work of three, paying them the work. And if you want to hire someone to help them grow and you grow, you should talk to Twisty about what we're doing with CAs. Talk to me if you want to talk or learn about chiropractic results. Get into Close for Chiro before they close out this year because it's going to get harder to sell. And I wish you all a happy fucking day.